Hey folks, it's Benita. We are ready to start our pages on the Misty Rose album. Super excited. I hope you liked the launch of what it looks like, the design of it. It was super great. Again, remember, I am designing for J&S Hobbies and Crafts, and this is my second album for you. Super excited. So let's get going on the pages. So again, remember, I try to keep my videos about an hour and 15 minutes. Now I will do my best to do that. As you'll notice, I'm wearing my lovely Live, Love, and Sparkle bracelet. Super like that. Just a recap of some of the things that we're going to use. We'll have some magnets. We have our lovely glitter glue, which again is an absolute must that you have. And I always try to start with the full bottle. I buy the bigger refills and just continue to use this bottle. We will use some score tape, and in this sections we'll only use the 1/4 inch. So that's what this is. What I also wanted to show here is I believe I have all my pages inked already. I have inked them with Tim Holtz Distressed Ink Spun Sugar. Again, you can get that J&S Hobbies. That information, again, would have been on my first video. Will tell you all the supplies that you need. And of course, you need a dauber. Again, I believe I have most of my items edged, but we'll never know, so I want to keep that up close and personal in case I need that. Okay, and remember I told you I was going to get a little jar to keep all my little clippings in, and so that's what this is, and we'll see how long it takes me to get full. This is from part of my first album, and this is then also using as I was designing my second album, because I always design my pages first, and then I go ahead and build from there. Okay, also remember I have some acrylic pieces of flimsy acetate, excuse me, not acrylic, acetate, so that helps me glue my stuff down. So here we go. Okay, so this is page 1, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like first. So page 1 has a large flap that's going to open up, that has a pocket right here, and then we have a stacked pocket here. This pocket, when you get it put together, will go all the way down, so this will be a deep pocket as well. Okay, so let's get started. Now you've already got your decorative paper cut out, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces for page 1, and you should have already had those all pre-cut and great. Again, I have inked all my edges. And then here's what we need for our paper. Here's our 8x8 base. This album is made with white paper. Our flap is 6 1/4 by 8 3/4. And then we have a small pocket that is going to go on our flap that is 7 1/4 by 3. Of course, we deco edged that. And then I have my bottom large pocket, which is 9 by 3 3/4. Again, deco edged. And then our middle pocket, which I will note for you before, when you score this one, there will be 2 score lines at the bottom. I do not want you to fold that. Absolutely do not fold on those score lines, okay? And that is important because this will help us guide where we want to put our stuff. You know, and I told an untruth. We are actually going to make this pocket have a stop gap so it won't go all the way to the bottom. Okay, so I have already on some of my pages, remember we would take our pockets and we would trim off the corners and we would fold all those back. I've already done that. And here, excuse me, we did this on our large one. Now on this middle pocket, it's important we are not going to do that same thing. We're going to go to the top score, which is scored at 1 1/4 inch, and we're going to cut just to that first score line at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to come over, and you can mark it if you want, but I just come in at a little bit of an angle, and I'm just going to clip it like that. So you see how that makes that little kind of little notch there, and that's what we want to do on both sides. So again, I'm going to go up to the second score line here, which is 1 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut over to that score line, and then I'm just going to cut at an angle. Okay, and these do not have to match the angle, so don't worry about that. These are going to go in my jar. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to fold on this first score line, which is at 1/2 inch. Okay, so let me get that. Oh my gosh, almost lost my, so let's burnish that down. And we're going to burnish all the other things around. So all of our pockets are scored. These two are scored 1/2 inch all the way around. These are scored, that's scored at halfway down. This is scored at 8 and 8 1/8, so we have that gusset right there. This one is scored at a 1/2 inch on both short sides, and then we'll score a 1/2 inch and then 1 1/4 inch. Okay, so let's get this put together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our small pocket on first. And remember, when we put it on the inside, we do not want to go right up against this line. And this is really cool for this one, you guys, as you'll see, because I've inked my edges. Unlike the black, it's hard to see, but I've inked my edges. So that is the very line where the fold is at. You do not want to put your pocket up right next to that. Otherwise, it'll make it hard to close. Okay. So I am going to scribble my glue on. Remember, we scribble, 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 because that's important. And I get my pin on. My mom was laughing with me yesterday. She was over here and she's like, I love watching you put your pin in your glue with one hand. And I'm like, no, I don't. I didn't even realize I did it until just now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and when we put this first pocket down, it is just like 1/8 of an inch away from that score. We're going to give a good burnish, open it up, and give burnish. Okay, now this is where our plastic is going to come in. I am going to glue my other, oh, my ink got in the hole there. As you see, you know, the hole punch that I used is absolutely, or the hole punch, oh my gosh. The punch I used, again, gets at J&S Hobby. It is about a 1/2 inch deep punch, and all my measurements are based on that. So if you choose to use a different punch, which you sure can, you want to make sure that it's about the same depth. If not, you may have to adjust the pockets. It's actually about a 3/4 inch. So if you're going to do a punch that's not quite that deep, you want to adjust your pockets, all your pockets by that, and anything with a decorative edge on it, because the designer paper that I have here all is based off this 3/4 inch. So for example, if you use a different punch, which I think you should own this one, you guys, because this will be used for many, 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 many tutorials. It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Let's say I used a 1/2 inch punch that only took up a 1/2 inch of my paper. I would want to make my pocket only 2 3/4 inches deep, do all the same scoring, but then it would make your blank space the same size as mine. I hope that makes sense. Again, I would highly suggest getting this one because it is absolutely cool. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and adhere this top flap to our, oops, you know what I forgot to do? Oh, well, I'm not going to do it now because I got glue on there. And we're just going to center this on our page. So it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't be stressing about that. So I'm just going to kind of lay it down there and kind of give it an eyeball. And then again, I'm going to burnish it down there. Okay. And then I am going to add my bottom pocket first. Okay. Let me give this a good burnish so it lays down flat. It's easier when you give a good burnish right before you glue it on because it gives it a very flat where you want to do it. Okay, so this one you do go all the way to the bottom. Line that up. Give it a good burnish there and then burnish it here. Then of course we're going to do our sides. And I'm so excited about this one using this Prima paper. It's absolutely gorgeous, you guys. I've been so excited about sharing this with you guys. Okay. Let's put our acetates in there. And I have two. You don't have to use two. I just like to be able to go from one side and give it a good burnish to the next. Okay. So that, now we have the second pocket. This is a tad bit tricky, so before we go anywhere, I just want to show you how this is going to work. So we have this 1/2 inch, which is going to be glued, which is going to be a stopgap. But this score line right here is going to help guide us. So when we put this in as a pocket 2, and because we cut this pocket just a 1/16 of an inch smaller, it's going to tuck right down in there, and that 16th or that score line we did tells us exactly where to stop. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do, we kind of have to glue this all in one fell swoop because of how it goes down there. So This one you have to be just a little bit more tricky about. So we're going to glue this, put glue on the bottom. And we're going to put glue on the sides. It's just, well, if I can't get it on there, I guess. Whoops, top of my glue over there. I always like to put my pin in my glue because I don't like it to get thicker. Okay, so when you go to put this on here, I'm going to hold my fingers and I'm going to lift this pocket up. And when I do that, then I'm able to slide this pocket down. And right when I get it in place, and again, I'm going to go right to those score lines that I've created. And that helps me get it straight. And because I've cut it about 1/16 inch smaller. Now, again, we want to put in our acetate or plastic, whatever you have will work. And you want to go down until it stops, because remember we put that stop in there and it's stopping. And again, I'm going to go and burnish. And you'll need to burnish over the middle of this pocket right here because that is where that stop is at. Okay. So what happens with that, as I told it untrue when I was showing you page 1, this allows you to put 4x6 photos in there and they don't go all the way to the bottom and cause problems. And it goes in there. Okay, sweet. So now let's put our designer paper on. It wasn't that was just great. So the first one we have is this paper. It's 7 3/4 by 2.5, and it's actually just going to go right here in the top, just like that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh, this paper is gorgeous. This would make a great wedding album, a great best friend album, a just I love you album to anybody. It's just beautiful. Wedding album. I don't know if I said that. So we're going to tuck that in there and put that down. Remember, we're going to burnish it good. Okay. And I just have to make sure that I am getting all my ducks in a row. Where is my... Now, I had all my papers here, so what in the world happened to my... Well, I'm going to have to find what happened to my little pocket because I had them all right here, like just one moment ago. Well, I guess we'll find that later and add it in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one right here on the bottom, and this is 7 3/4 by 2.5. I'm looking on the floor to see if I dropped it, and I'm not sure where it's at. Whoops, gosh, I almost put that in the wrong place. Gonna burnish this down. Here's my middle piece, which is 7 3/4 by 2.5. Going to hold up my pocket as I insert this one. And there's that. This is our inside piece. This is 6 by 5 7/8. You might think those are weird measurements, but as you've looked in my cutouts, I have, again, used this paper to capacity. I have 4 full sheets left and some scraps. I'm going to try to make a gift photo album out of it. So I'm hoping that will happen. And so if you want to keep your scraps and see that for later you can, or you can use them. That will be 100% up to you. So I'm going to burnish that down. And then I'm going to lay this flat while I put our big piece on here. This is 6 by 7 3/4. I hope those layouts really help. Again, I really like comments. I've heard good comments from people that they absolutely love that because then you're all ready to go with your decorative paper as you go. I'm really upset about that pocket piece. I have no idea what happened to it. I do not see it, so it must have fallen somewhere. So you would have cut this one for this piece right here, and so when I find it, I'll put it back there. So I don't know where it's at. Okay, so there is our page 1. Is that not gorgeous? Wowzer, wowzer. Let me make sure it's not in here. It's not. Okay, so that is our page 1. We're going to move right along to page 2 and 3. You're like, what, Benita, why are you doing page 2 and 3 at the same time? Well, page 2 and 3 are exactly the same. They're just mirror images, and we are going to create them exactly the same time. So again, we have our base page for each one of them. Oops, you know what? Make sure that you guys put page 1 on the back of your, and an arrow pointing up, so you don't put your pages on backwards. So here's our base page, and I'm going to make sure I have 2 and 3. Our base pages are 8 by 8, so you need a base page for each of those. And then we have 2 pieces of paper that are cut. You're going to cut 1 square of white paper, 8.5 by 8.5. And after you do that, you're going to cut it on the diagonal. When you cut it, after you cut it on the diagonal, you will score a 1/2 inch on each side. And then of course you're going to trim the corner just like we always do. And then you're going to decorative punch this. Okay? And that when you cut that 8.5 by 8.5, it's going to give you both pieces that you need. And I would suggest that we're going to work on both these pages at the same time because they're mirror images, and you want to make sure when you lay them out that you're laying them out mirror image. The next thing I want to show you, so this is what our page is going to look like here, and then like that. But the next thing that I want to show you and share with you is how to cut your papers that are going to fit. So here's what's cool with double-sided paper. So your paper that I had you cut for this is a square of 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. And when you do the cuts like I have you do, they're going to come out so that you will use the back side of this will go over here when you cut it for this one, and vice versa. So it's really a very well used way of paper. So I have my 7 3/4 by 7 3/4 paper, and I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to go over and measure for, I have to get this one right, you guys. For first, and forget my bird out here. Don't pay attention. Don't pay attention. Don't look at that. When you have your paper, it is super important that you are looking at your paper and you have it at the right side up, because this is directional. So this is my first square that is 7 3/4 by 7 3/4, and this is the way the words are going. From that, you're going to take that and you're going to go over from the right, and you're going to make a notch at 1.5 inches, and you're going to put a little notch right here. Then over here on the left hand side, down in the side, you're going to measure down 1.5 inches and make a mark there. Yes. And then what's going to happen is you are going to take that to your cutter. Mine has a wire strip in there, and I'm going to take it to my cutter, and I'm going to lay my metal strip on there right between those 2 ticks. And then I'm going to cut that, and that's going to produce 2 pieces of paper. This one will be for here. You'll flip this one over, and it goes for that. Okay? Let me one more time walk you through that. So here is my paper right here. That's my 3, and I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but I am going to mark at 1.5 inches. Actually, I think that is 1 3/8. 1 3/8. So apologize. Nope, it's 1.5. 1.5. I mark 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. I take that to my cutter. And my little notches that I have, you'll be able to very easily see. And I'm going to lay my cutter down, and I'm going to slice it right down there. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. And then here's the beauty. This was the one for page 2. I cut that. That one goes here. The opposite side goes here. Same thing with page 3. So here's my page 3 piece. And again, make sure that you're facing up when you, and on page this page over here, you're going to go to the top right hand side, go down 1.5 inches, and then the bottom left hand side over 1.5 inches. So it's important because this is directional paper. If it wasn't directional, it wouldn't matter. But on this one, you're going to come down to the bottom and over 1.5, and the top down 1.5. On this one, you're at the top coming down 1.5, make a mark, and the bottom 1.5, make a mark. Try a piece of regular paper before you dive into this if you're unsure of it. So because you do not want to waste these papers, because this is a pretty big size piece of paper. So try something, some scrap paper to make you do that. Okay. So, but it is so easy, because now what we're going to do, again, we have our 2 pockets, and what I want you to do in these is you're going to trim off, because that really comes up above there, and we don't want that. So we're going to trim off on both of those. We're just going to do a diagonal cut, throw this in my bucket. Again, I'm going to do a diagonal cut, diagonal cut, throw it in my bucket. Okay, so again, we're going to adhere our one piece down at a time, and let's burnish this down so it lays on really good, because I've been playing with it. Okay, I have a funny to tell you. If you watched me in my first video, I was having, and this goes all the way to the corner, by the way, on this side. I was really having a very difficult time with my brand new glue bottle. And I was telling folks that I was really working on it, mushing it all up and trying to get it to work. And sometimes it wouldn't work. And whoops, I didn't get that over far enough. Sometimes it wouldn't work, and it was really getting frustrated. And so I'd go back to my old bottle, which is like well worn. And yes, well, this goes all the way to the corner, you guys. I had that off a little bit. What happened was I was getting so frustrated and don't know why that was happening, and burnish this down really good. And I went to do something, and I opened up my glue bottle, and I am so embarrassed to even tell you this. The piece of paper was still inside my brand new glue bottle that kind of seals it. And the only reason glue was coming out is because my pin is longer and was puncturing that. So it's a wonder I had any glue whatsoever coming out. I have just a little paper tear right there that I'm going to repair. Okay, so then I'm going to glue down the other side. But it was pretty funny when I discovered that. I was like, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Grab your piece of plastic before we burnish it really hard down there. Get it all the way to the corner and get it really burnished in there. Okay, let's do the second one. Again, we're going to glue this down. So remember, we're going to scribble, because remember what happens when you scribble and then you push the glue down, it kind of disperses that glue. Again, this one's going to go in the bottom right-hand corner. The other one went in the bottom left-hand corner. Again, these are mirror image pages, and so it's important that you build them at the same time so that we make sure we do not put them down the same way. Okay. Okay, let's glue this. And I don't even know what I did with my pin. Well, that's not good. My pin's getting bent. I kind of burnish that down a little bit, and then I'm going to grab my little plastic here. Okay. Now let's just layer pieces out. Make sure you grab the right ones that are going the right direction, because they are directional, because they have, you can barely see it, but it has that vintage fun words on it, like from a newspaper. Make sure your pieces that are going to go here are also going in the right direction. Because they are mirror images, and you could easily get that messed up. Okay, let's go ahead and just glue these down. This is such beautiful paper. It's so vintage looking. Remember, for me, I'm going to come back and as we put our pages in our album, we will decorate it. We've got flowers, we've got doilies, we've got all kinds of things. But I like to make the base pages, get all your pages built, and as we put them in, then we're going to do some cool decorating on it. Okay. Oops, shoot. Set that down and it moved. Burnish that down really good all over. And make sure you get up to the edges with this. I just dropped glue on my paper there. And this just goes down. Remember that glue, it kind of lets you maneuver it. Isn't that not beautiful? Oh my gosh. This will be so great for pictures, you guys. Big pictures. Prima makes the most gorgeous paper. Well, I have my heart. I like lots of paper. I like Cartabella, Prima, Stamperia. I like a lot of paper. I am a paperaholic. I cannot, gosh, it's just so tempting for me to, I could not make all the albums or quilts for all the stuff I have in my lifetime, but I can't help but buy my stuff. Now, I just kind of got a little, be careful of your punched edge here. I kind of scrunched it a little bit, so I'm going to put some more ink on it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put down our other piece. You don't want to use too little glue, and you don't want to use too much. If you use too little, it won't maybe not adhere all the way, but if you use too much, you will get some warping, and you don't want that either. Okay, look at that. Success, page 2 and 3. Well, goodness sakes. Okay, so page 2 has your pocket on the left-hand side, and page 3 has your pocket on the right-hand side. So make sure you put your page numbers 2. My 2 is 2 and 3. Okay, sweet. 4 is that incredible mechanism that pops up your photos. I love unique things, and I wanted to incorporate that into my album, so I was pretty excited about it. So we have a lot of things going on. So here is our page 4, and when you open this up, we have this that comes open. Now, at this point in time, I have not done anything to cover these 4 pieces. You can. I didn't want a lot of extra weight on here, but we will see when we get it created, and we'll see how that goes. Okay? So what we have is, again, we have our decorative paper already cut out for all of our pieces, and we should have, I'm laughing because I don't know what I did with that other piece. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper on this, and let's hopefully that is correct. We have lots of cardstock for this one. Of course, we have our base that is 8 by 8. We have our top flap, which is 6 1/4 by 6 3/4. We have our bottom flap, which is 6 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then our mechanism is what we have left. That mechanism is made of 3 pieces. So this piece right here, I'm going to talk to you about how to do this in just a moment. This is 10 1/2 by 4, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to make it work for this mechanism. But we have to create this piece right here, which is separate from the mechanism that works. And to do that with 8 1/2 by 11 paper, we need 2 pieces. We need one piece that is 6 by 4, and then we need another piece that is 6 1/2 by 4. Okay? So let's talk about how we make this mechanism work first of all. So this is our 6 1/2 by 4, and you're going to score at 3 inches and 6 inches, and that gives you a 1/2 inch gusset. or 1/2 inch flap right here. And then here's our 6x4 piece, and we're going to score it 3 inches. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to glue these together to make one long piece. Okay, so we are going to put our glue, and I'm going to scribble my glue. Make sure you get them on the edges there. And you will be able to bump it right up next to that. Make sure it's on there straight. Burnish it good. Let me get my stuff out of the way. Okay. So that will create that mechanism right there, our photos. Again, I have not put any paper on here, designer paper, because this is strictly meant for photos. You could put black matte on them, and we'll see how heavy it gets before we do that. And if so, I will test it, and when we do the design stage at the end of our papers, we may come and put those black photo mats on there, but for right now, we're not going to. Okay, let's talk about the mechanism that actually makes this baby work. This is our 10.5 by 4 inch paper. The first thing that you need to do is you need to score 2 inches. You're going to put the 4 inch at the top of your scoreboard, and you're going to score down 2 inches right down the middle. That's going to give you a score all the way down. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come over and you're going to make tick marks on all 4 of these places. You're going to mark them with pencil because we'll want to erase them after we get done. So from all those sides, you're going to go in and mark 3 1/4 inches. So I'm going to go 3 1/4 inches. I'm going to make a tick mark with my pencil. 3 1/4 inches, tick mark with my pencil. Same thing, 3 1/4 inches over, make a tick mark. 3 1/4 over, make a tick mark. So what happens is I've got 4. I'm going to make these larger so you can see them because I will erase them. And you'll see them on my paper there. Okay, I'm hoping you can see that. My light is bright, and so you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what I do, I have several scoreboards, and you can do this on your big one as well. So on my scoreboard, I went and took, and on my 4 inch mark or 3.5 inch mark, I made a dark line right here with my Sharpie marker. And I will do it right here so you can see. I just kind of went with my Sharpie marker. You can do that with your big score pal as well. And what I do, and why I did that, is because I need to score and make a cross. And so I need from this mark to this mark. So what I do is I can put my little tick mark right on my bat and maneuver this one. And I know right where to go because I made that dark down there. And then I'm going to go ahead and score down there. Same thing I'm going to do the other way. I'm going to make, I'm going to take and I'm going to make my mark right here on my 4 inch mark. And then I can see it down here. And I'm going to score on that. What that does then for us is it makes our mechanism. So after you've scored all those things, I need to erase my score marks, or my pencil marks, not my score marks, because I don't want those to show. We are not going to do covering of this at all, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fold on this 2 inch and fold it both ways and give it a good burnish. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with our X's. So here's my X, my one side. See how that goes? I'm going to fold it again the other way. Now I will tell you this album is built with 110 paper. You don't want to use 110 on this because it's pretty heavy. You can use 65 or you could use 80, but 110 would make this pretty stiff to do. So if you have to grab a separate piece of paper that's 65 weight or 80 pound, if you're using the 110 pound from Shelly, the white cardstock, you might want to grab just a lighter weight on this one. Okay, so here's my second one. And we're going to give that a good burnish. Okay. Now I have to look at this. I have to make sure. We are going to put our card together first before we build this part of it. Okay. Now, so the first thing that we're going to do is you notice this is our top flap. And there is no 1/8 inch gusset, and that's really important. Like, I always do 1/8 inch gussets. You're like, where is it, Benita? Not on this one, and that's really important. So this is 6 1/4 by 6 3/4. We have scored it at 6 1/4 inches. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And we're just going to center that on our card. And again, you don't have to be perfect. Some people like to measure. I am not going to measure. I just want it to be close. And we're going to burnish that down. Burnish that down. Okay. Now, when we do our bottom flap does have a gusset. And this one was scored at 2 1/8 and 2 5/8 and 2 3/4, I believe. I'll have, don't quote me on those, but your marks will be up on the screen as needed, and you'll just watch for that. Now, when I put this one on, what is important is that we do want them to line up. So we are going to make sure that happens here. Make sure you don't glue down the score line, the in between there. Okay, so I'm going to glue this. And when I put this one down, okay, can I breathe and put this all in the same time? I am going to make sure it lines up. And so as I put this down, I'm going to make sure it is lining up with my top piece, because we are going to use a magnet for this page. Okay, great, sweet. So again, this one has a gusset, this does not. That's really important. Okay, so we are now going to adhere this mechanism. And what's important about this is we kind of need to mark the center of our paper, which is 4 inches. I'm going to mark it right up here, because this mechanism is going to go right here, and you will see, you will have score marks where that is at, and that middle needs to be lined up with that. And all the way to the top, you want to, there's no, remember how the last page ago we left a 1/16 inch? It needs to go all the way up, and that is really important. The only place that we're going to adhere are these triangles that we have created. Okay, I'm going to draw on here so you can actually see my triangles. I think you can see them, but it's hard to see on my end. We're only going to adhere these, and we're going to actually use score tape because we want it to be very good sticking. So I'm going to score tape inside both of those triangles. And as you notice, you will get a little, oh my gosh, I can't even think of an angle when you cut off your score tape. And you can just put them down there. So it's important, again, I'm adding score tape just to those 2 triangles. And if you do it anywhere else, you are going to be in trouble, because then it won't work. Again, comment, let me know, do you like these little fun mechanisms in there for different displays? I think they're kind of cool. So if you like them and you let me know, I'll be working on finding some other ones to put in for you. So you can use glue for this. If you use glue, the problem with using glue in this one, you really need to let it set before you mess with it. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to risk it. So I'm going to put smaller pieces of score tape in here. That's how important this is to adhere. And okay, burnish those all down really good, and I'm just going to bring this up and show you I got that score tape just in those triangles. Okay, sorry, my workspace gets kind of busy. We're going to only adhere one down first, and again we're going to put it right at that mark. Here's my little pokey tool. And pull all those tapes up. Hope you guys have had a good month since the last time I saw you. I absolutely love creating for you guys, so I really hope you enjoy it. I'm always open for suggestions. Now, I am going to run glue on my tape, just like I normally do when we use our score tape. I'm going to glue it in there because if I set it down wrong and then I can't maneuver it, I would cry. Okay, again, we're going to make that right up to there. That's really important, right on our mark. And we're going to adhere that down. Going to make sure this closes, and we're going to burnish that like that. Okay. And then we're going to do this next one, and we're going to close it. So let's get this score tape opened up here. I'm hoping to get 6 pages done, you guys, because I like to do my pages in 2 videos instead of 3 on my last one. So hopefully we can do that. Excuse my mess there. Again, I'm going to put glue on in that triangle. I'm going to put that down. And I'm going to adhere that. Now, what you want to do right away is open it up, and can you open it? That's important. Okay, I opened it up and it will lay flat. That is why you cannot have a gusset in there. Okay. Now, what you need to do is we had those score lines, and you're going to see how I did that. Push those score lines up a mountain fold and close it. And give it a good burnish right down the middle, because that is now what has created our mechanism. See that? Sweet. Okay, now to attach this, we need to put score tape only in these corners. And that's important. Again, if you put it anywhere else, you're going to have a problem. Okay, so we're just going to kind of draw a little like square. It's going to be on, we're going to go over like, oh my gosh, let me see here. I have to kind of bend this one to see. Like a 2-inch, we're going to go all the way over, but we're going to go in 2 inches. And we're going to do a square over here, 2 inches, and a square. We are going to score tape here and there. Okay. Again, it's important that we use score tape because we want this to stay and stay right away. If we use glue, we would have to set and wait. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that. I have this handy dandy little cool thing my mom gave me. It's from washi tape, and it has a cutter on here. I forget that. I love this thing. I don't know where she got it. It had a washi tape attached. She didn't give me the washi tape, which I don't, that's okay. She gave me this. So we're going to go all the way around that square, that 2-inch square, and put score tape on there. And I'm going to put a few pieces in the middle. This is such a cool mechanism, you guys. I absolutely love it. Okay, then I'm going to come down here again, and we're just doing a 2-inch square. I love how this came together. I'm excited to see it with paper on it because, again, of course I designed it and I have not built one with paper. I've just designed the actual pages. I don't like to design on the fly, you guys, because what I like to do is I like to design it and then figure out what paper is going to work best and how to utilize the paper best, and then give you the paper cutout layouts so you can use your paper to capacity. And so, although I've designed the pages, I haven't seen when we put the cardstock on there. So let me get this out of the way so I can maneuver here. Okay. Again, we're going to do one at a time. We're going to pull up this score tape, get it out of our way. Maybe. I love watching TV while I craft, you guys. Comment on what you guys like to do. I like to watch old shows. Like right now, I have Chips on. For you people that are older, like me, you will know what Chips is, and some people that are younger won't even know what that is. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and we're going to adhere the top right-hand corner of what we just created with our mechanism and with our photo mat piece. Just want to make sure that those are lined up. Give that a good burnish. Okay. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to take this one out. So Chips, for those that don't know, is a motorcycle highway patrol back probably in the 70s maybe show. It was kind of a fun, cute show. Some seriousness of it, but it was fun. But I like to watch old Disney movies and things like that. I like to just have the picture going, the sound way down low, just so I can have some noise going. Okay, so again, I'm going to just put some glue on my pieces there. Now, when you lay this one down, be careful because you still want to just do the left corner to the left corner and make sure it's sticking up. Okay, so I'm going to put my left corner, make sure it's done. So don't mess with it for a minute. Just let it set like that. Okay. I want you to let it set like that because I want the glue, even though we have tape on there, I want that glue to stick. So while we're doing that, let's go ahead and put our papers down. So for the inside, we're going to use this beautiful paper. Make sure you pay attention to what side it is. And this right here is a 6 by 2.5, and it's going to go right on there. And we're just going to put that right down there. Something just came up on my computer here. Just one moment. Put that down. This one is going to go right up in here. Now, we could have made this one a little bit longer, but I didn't want anything interfering with our mechanism. So this one was 6 by 3 3/4. And if when you get all said and done and you want something longer, I am going to add a few gold strips. I have some gold glitter paper that is in my stash that I'm going to come back and do some decorating with. So I'll show you that when I get done. So we could put a little strip right here. So we'll see when we get done. Okay. And then this is going to go again up here. And again, I am lacking a little bit of space down here. So you can move it down a little bit and we can put a gold strip up here. So we'll have two gold strips, and that's probably what I'm going to do. Again, I didn't have the ability, if I would have cut this one bigger, it would have messed up my whole paper lineage. So I just wanted to do that. And we'll put a gold strip up at the top here, or some of our other paper that we have left. So this is 7 3/4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to put that right down towards the bottom. So we have a little bit bigger gap at the top. That's okay. We'll do something with that later. And if you don't have any gold paper, you can use some of your scraps. Okay, so now before we go on, we're going to close this. And at first you want to close it gently, and you're going to have to help it along. Come on, come on, close, close, close. Close. Why are you not closing? You've got to help it along. Well, come on, come on. So what did I do that didn't work? Because we've got to, it's got to be able to bend on that, on the There we go. The first few times you really need to maneuver it, and so reach in with your hands, you guys, and make sure that you've got that your 2.5 inch piece. That's the 2-inch score line. You want to lay that down. Lay that down. And again, that's why I didn't want to put any more paper on that, because it makes it super heavy. Again, you want to just practice with this. I did not get that over far enough with my tape, so we should have really went over it a little bit. But again, practice with that to get it to lay down gently, 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 gently. You know, I totally forgot to put my magnet on. Oh, well, shoot a Rooney. Okay. So I will make a note on my information. We need to put the magnets on first, because I'm going to have to do something different up here to fix that. So we are going to go ahead and put the magnets on, and I'll have to fix what I did, but you guys will put it on first. Okay, so we're going to close this, and we are going to adhere the magnet on the top first, because so mine's going to have a strip of paper over that, because this is a very close magnet. So put it on the top first, drop it, pinch your sides in there, you guys. And we're going to put a little bit of glue on our second magnet. Push it down, and that's where that one's going to go. And we're going to tape it. I'm so bummed that I did that. I'll have to fix it. So on my video, it's going to say, wait, 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 in big black letters. So hopefully you caught that. I super apologize, and we will not do that again. Okay, now on this piece of paper, because it's so close up here, I'm going to put score tape at the top of this, and this is on the front. It's 6 by 2.5. See, it's kind of cool because your teachers make mistakes as well. So I'm going to put a couple score tapes on there. Burnish them down. And take my tape off of both pieces. I'm going to leave the tape on my top magnet for now, you guys, because I made that mistake. So you'll probably see a gold strip of paper across there or something, or I can see if I can use, oh my gosh, Goo Gone or whatever. Okay, make sure you put glue on your tape as well, and then we're going to put that down. And then make sure where your magnet is that you push that down. I can't even burnish it because it's so close. So I should have put that magnet down. I should have put it down a little bit farther, you guys, so it wasn't, but it's so close there. You have to be careful to make sure that you get them. Oh, you know what I can do? I'm going to put my magnet on top. Okay, so you guys don't do this because I will have you put it there. But I'm going to put mine on top because I messed up. So you're going to have your magnet underneath this piece of paper here, and then you're going to put that on there. And if you've already put your paper down like I did because you were listening to me, then here's what we're going to do. We're going to help close this mechanism up. And we are going to let this drop, and we're going to adhere it. And these magnets are strong enough, they will take that. So either way, depending on whether you got this far and you didn't catch my verbiage up on my wording on there, we will be good to go. Instead of the magnets there, I know I should have just taken care of that magnet right in the very beginning. This is a 6x6 page. Again, I'm going to put score tape down at the bottom to help stabilize the magnets, and then one little bit above it. Burnish. Burnish all that. Oops, I didn't put the lid on my glue. You guys probably are laughing because I should have done that. So do you guys craft more in the fall? We camp a lot during the summer in Montana. I live in Montana, and we are on the go most weekends. So I don't do a whole lot of paper crafting, but when it comes to fall, I get going on my paper crafting, my quilting, my knitting, you name it. Okay, so let's get glue. Make sure you get it all to the edges. And glue your tape. And set this down. Okay, put this back on here. Okay, be careful that you don't rip your paper with your magnet right there, and you can just take it and maneuver it with your hands. Okay, there you go. And again, the more you work that mechanism, the better it's going to work for you. Okay, so you just have to continue to work it. Open it up slowly and close it. So whoever you give this gift to, just walk them through how to do this. When you get your pictures on here, it'll be a little bit stiffer, and it will also help as well. Now, what we're missing is we're going to be missing some paper that we're going to put right here. And so when we come back with filling out some scraps, wrapping up our pages, we will put a piece of paper right in here that will cover up this, so that when we are closed, you see these pieces of paper right here, there will actually be paper there. And so we're going to come back and do that one at the end as we finish up our little pieces that we're missing and decorating our pages as well. Okay, so hopefully you liked that one. And again, just continue to work your stuff. And I might put some paper on there just to see if that helps it out. Okay, so that is page 4. Okay, let's move on to page 5. I want to get to 6 pages tonight. So here's page 5. This page 5 is a really cool page as well. This one has a large pocket down here and then 2 smaller pockets right here. So this is pretty cool. And it takes really not very much paper. Okay, so the first thing that we have is our base page, which is 8 by 8, and then we have our large bottom pocket, which we're going to attach first, which is 9 by 3.5. We're going to score around 3 sides at a 1/2 inch. We're going to deco punch the edge, and then fold those all in. And then we have 2 pockets that are cut 5 by 4. You're going to score 1/2 inch around 3 of the items. You're not going to score turn under this bottom one. Okay, so this is 5 by 4. You're going to score with the 5 inch up on your scoreboard. You're going to score 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, and then you're going to turn it on the 4 inch side and score 1/2 inch, but you're not going to fold it on this one. On the long 5 inch side, you're going to go ahead and punch that. You need 2 pieces like that. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to adhere down our big pocket. And I'm going to scribble, 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 scribble. You know, if you quit breathing, it's harder to thread a needle and harder to put the needle in your glue bottle. Again, this goes all the way down to the bottom. Get that good. Then we're going to do our sides. I have some really cool thoughts on the next couple albums I'm making. I don't often make a 6x6 album, but I have a 6x6 in mind. And I also have a rectangle one in mind, which is kind of a takeoff of one that I made before, but expanded to make it hold more photos. And so I'm pretty excited about. I have got 2 in the works. Okay. Now I have my 2 pockets, and like we did with pocket 1, first of all, let's trim a little bit off our corners here. So we trimmed them on there, so we're just going to trim them a little bit off there. That's going to go in my jar. Maybe when my jar is full, I'll have a giveaway. How about that? When this jar gets full, maybe I'll have a giveaway. Okay, so we are going to take the first one, and again, remember we did not turn this under on this score line down here. So we're just going to fold those in, and that is going to go, again, you're going to use that score line as a guide to where to stop that. And that one's going to go right in like that. This one you have to do the sides at the same time. And so I'm going to glue on, I'm going to scribble glue on. Well, shoot-a-rooney. Our camper, we put our camper, she went and got all ready for the winter. We just put the cover on her this weekend. So it's kind of sad. So we're just going to set that down in there. And I'm going to take my plastic, and I'm just going to use one because it's kind of small. Do that side, and then I'm going to move it over and do this side. Okay, so before we glue this one, make sure this one fits. Again, we're only folding in those sides, and we're going to tuck that right down in there, and we're going to make that fit. I'm going to have to trim off just a tad more to make it fit. And that one's going to go right next to it. It's a tight fit because they're both going to be 4 inches. 4 inches. Okay. Going to glue both of my sides. I just gave one of my quilting friends an incredible album that used is the Signature Story travel album from Kathy Order from Paper Phenomenon, and I used the paper, the flight, I can't remember what it is, 517 that you can get at J&S Hobbies. I'll have a YouTube of that now that she's received it. I will have a YouTube up shortly that gives you, not a tutorial because it's Kathy Order's, that will reveal that. It's absolutely gorgeous and stunning. The paper, again, I suggest 100% that you get it. What did I do with my dauber, you guys? Well, shoot, Rooney. Okay, so there, that is all put together. I don't know what happened to my dauber. I don't know, did my dog take off with it? I'm like losing, I've lost a piece of paper. I've lost now my dauber. Oh, here it is. Okay, now what's cool about this is here we have our designer paper already. This, when you cut it, it had asterisks, so that means we're going to use the other side, which is this pink one. And these are going to go right here in the middle, underneath there. So we're just going to go ahead and glue those down. Oops. And we're going to glue this one down. Try to get those 2 pieces lined up. Okay, and then our top and bottom pocket, they're exactly the same size, so it doesn't really matter which one that you use. You can kind of take a peek about what you think you're going to use. They're 7 3/4 by 2 inches. So we're just going to put the glue on here. And whoops, 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 whoops. It does too matter, so I don't know what I'm thinking. Nope, that is not straight. This one is going to be too big, so we do need to cut this one down. I need to cut mine down to about 1.5 inches, you guys. It would depend on how deep you had your pockets, and I apologize for that. So we're just going to trim this one down to 1.5 inches. Test yours before you cut yours. Don't throw that strip away because you can use it for your waterfall. I need to ink my piece because remember, all my pieces are inked. What's important about this page is on these pockets, you really need to make sure this photo is not going to fit in here because it's too big. But you're going to really need to make sure that you have trimmed your corners down so that your pictures will go in here. Well, if you don't trim them, it makes them hard to get pictures in there. And so that's why we trimmed that, we made that notch come out. Okay, so I trimmed mine down to about 1.5 inches and see how that's going to fit. Okay. So depending on how deep you set your pockets down, take a peek and decide what you're going to cut yours down to before you cut it 1.5 inches. And make sure your paper is going right way, which I can't even tell. I can't tell. So I guess it's just going to go this way. Look at that. Isn't that page stunning as well? Okay. You can, yeah, isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I love it. I love it. The other thing that you can do if you don't want a little white gap there is you can put this piece down first and then put your pockets on top of it. So whatever you'd like to do. I wanted mine like that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. We have one more page to do in this session and we are on to page, whoops, page 5. Point an arrow. We are moving right along to page 6. Page 6 is really cool. So page 6 is going to have some of our photo mats, and this is a reverse photo mat because it's going to be black photo mats where we typically, when we're using black paper, we use white photo mats. This page is a pretty simple page. We have a top flap and a bottom flap, and the pocket on this one is actually on the outside because when you close it, we're not using a magnet. We're going to make a little booklet, and that booklet is going to actually hold the mechanism together. That opens up, and this will be covered with photo mats in here and down here, and we just have 2 long strips of paper here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about our papers. So we have our base page, which is 8 by 8. We have our top flap, which is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, scored at 5 1/2 and 5 5/8. So you have that gusset there. Our bottom flap is 6 1/4 by 5, scored at 4 1/4 by 4 3/8. So we're going to go ahead and adhere our top flap first. And again, now, before we do that, we are, oh yeah, no, that's okay. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. Our paper for it, we have strips for the side, but the strips are wider than that side. So let's go ahead. We don't want to put the strips down first, but you kind of want to have an idea about where they're going to go. So let's do our top flap. Let's glue that on. Gonna just center that down there, you guys. Don't be panicking. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Remember with our bottom flaps, we want to make sure that we're lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on before I put the pocket on the outside. Whoops. Shoot to toonies. I'm also glad you can't see me because sometimes I stick my tongue out when I'm trying to concentrate and get something in the right place. Okay. And we're just going to make sure that we're lined up when we put that down, that these are all lined up. And I know it's going to be easier when I do white paper. I don't make a lot of albums with white, but this one actually kind of called for white. I think the paper really does justice with white. And I know it's easier when I have white paper than it's ink, because you can then kind of see how it goes. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the pocket down. Our pocket is 7 1/4 by 3. Again, we scored 1/2 inch around all 3 sides, and then we decorative punched up there. When we put this pocket down, this pocket is going to go to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put this all the way to the bottom. The paper, it overlapped these brown papers here, but they're kind of, okay. Now we're going to put the sides on. When you're putting paper underneath your pockets, it's not necessary to trim down the top of your pocket, the flaps, but when you're not putting paper down, like on that last page that we just did, you do want to like nip those, snip them so that you will be able to get your picture in there. Okay. Sweet. Okay. So let's put some of our papers on. So I've got to make sure I have my papers all right. This one is going to go on the top, and I believe is 6 by 5 1/4. Isn't that beautiful? And then the bottom of this pocket, oh, maybe it's this one. I lied. It's this one. This one goes on here, and this pocket goes right on. This goes right on here. Now you can't see this, but I accidentally slit this too short. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to put, again, a gold strip. Yours will be cut right. It is 6 by 1 5/8. I cut mine too small, but yours will be correct. So I am going to have to fix that by putting, again, a gold strip of paper on mine. So when you see mine finish, when you saw it in the finish, that is why I had to do that, because I cut it wrong. So this is just going to go on top of here. Okay. Again, I had mine taped together, see? Haha. So I am going to ink that just in case. So again, yours is cut the right size. Mine was not. And I almost did the wrong paper. Oh no. Yes. I'm going to glue this down. And I'm going to glue it up towards the top because I will put a gold strip, a glitter paper right down here. But again, yours is going to be the right size. See, aren't you glad I make the mistakes for you? Isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, so let's open this up, and then this goes right here. This was the same size as that other one. They were both the same size. Put that in. My pin's getting bent, so it's hard to do one-handed. Okay, let's get that. And this is going to go right down here, which is 4 1/8 by 6. Oh, shoot, a Rooney. I just put the glue on the wrong side. Well, we are going to have green, and without it inked, which is not going to work, Well, that was not cool. Well, shoot. Sorry. You guys can put the other end, other one on. So now before we lay our photo mats down, let's come put this one here. So this one goes, this is this is not 6 by 5 1/8. This is 6 by 2.5. And we're going to use this green side. And that's going to pop right down inside of there. And I know we're getting on just past about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and we're just going to wrap it up with this page here shortly. I'm going to put this down in there. And burnish it down. Get my papers out of the way. Now before we put our photo mats down, what I want to do is I want to put my side pocket pieces down. And these side pieces are just going to go like that. And again, these are 1 by 7 3/4. You can use the other side, but I chose to use the green. And we're going to scribble our glue on there. After I video these tutorials, it still takes me a while because I have to go back and edit, add all your sizes on there. I did add the cutting instructions now in the comments of this, so that you can also, I don't know how you print the comments out, to tell you the truth, but they will be there so that you can see that as well as on the screen. But it takes me a while to edit it as well. Okay, so that is on there. And then we have some photo mats. And again, the photo mats, we are going to add, this is 5 5/8 by 4. And then we have 2 photo mats that are 2 3/4 by 3 5/8. And they're literally just going to go on there like this. So what I would suggest is that you lay them on there first before you glue them down. Now I have the sizes of the mats written in pencil, and when I go back, I will go and erase those pencil lines. So if you write them on your photo mats, make sure you light it light with pencil so that you don't cause any problem. I know it's going to get covered up, but that is not the size of photo that you're going to put on there. You want to put a little bit smaller size photo, in my opinion, to show the framework of it. But so we're going to glue that down there. And put that one down there as well. Burnish everything. Ouch, I just stuck myself with the pin. I'm so bummed about this piece down here that I put it backwards, but you know, the green all matches, so that's good. Okay, so the last thing we have to do, I do not have a cover yet for this, and we'll come back. This is the actual piece that's going to go right in here. We'll come back and we'll fill that piece with the decorative paper when we do our wrap up of our paper. And we can also put, well, that's because a photo mat was supposed to go right here. A photo mat was supposed to go right here, and that piece was supposed to go on there. So what do you think about that? So what's going to happen is we'll come back and get a different piece of paper for this one, and we'll do that when we do our wrap up. Okay, so in my, so this was a photo mat that we were going to make, and I put my piece of paper on there. So what do you think about that? It's still beautiful. We'll do that, and I'm just going to put these right in here So we'll know that we'll need to cover that on the way out. Okay, there you go. That is section 1. I'm sorry, I've had a little bit of boo-boos, but that's what happens when you're on live designing your album. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll be starting section 2 to get the rest of the pages done. Thank you so much.